Well, thank you all for coming. This is an exciting morning for us. I want to welcome the members of the cabinet who are standing here behind me. Paul DiLorenzo from the Casey Family Foundation for your presence. My wife Tracy, who's going to talk about her initiative as first spouse. Tracy and I've made it a practice in my nearly 30 years of public service, more than half of which has been in an elected office, not to talk a lot about work at home. I think that's been beneficial for our own mental health and probably for our relationship as well. And so when we started this administration and Tracy asked how she could help, I said, find something that you think you would like to do, something that's meaningful and that will make an impact. And right away, she came up with a number of ideas that were of interest to her, mostly around helping young children. And today, she's going to talk about that and her work already with many of the people to my right here in Delaware's First Chance initiative. As I think about it, I remember my father, who spent his career in education here in Delaware, came to Delaware in 1955 to teach at Mount Pleasant Junior High and was a guidance counselor, worked in the old Wilmington Public School District. In the mid-'70s, he did a summer program up at the Harvard School of Education, and I remember him coming back and sharing what he had learned at that conference. And what it was research that had been done that indicated that so much of a child's success was determined by the age of 3 or 4. And it made such an impact on him because part of his job in the old Wilmington Public School District was to help children when they came to school, in elementary school, and it was clear that if we hadn't got to them in some kind of way before then, it's going to make our work after that so much more difficult. And so this First Chance initiative, if you think about it, is so incredibly important for all the work that we're doing. The work of the Family Services Cabinet Council, our work with education in the Christina School District in the city of Wilmington, to make sure that every child has that first chance, that first opportunity to be successful, because you only get it once. You're only an infant, a toddler, a 3-year-old once, and we know that there are families struggling across our state and that those children struggle as well, and as a result have more difficulty down the road. So I'm excited to hear about Tracy's initiative and look forward to all of us working together to make sure that we give all our children, wherever they live in Delaware, a good first chance, because we only get one opportunity. And with that, I'd like to introduce my wife, the first spouse, I think, Tracy Quillen Carney.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Hun, for the loan of your conference room. This is one of those what's yours is mine moments. Thanks to everyone for adjusting your schedules to be here for our rescheduled event. There are so many distinguished guests and valued partners here today, here and here. I wouldn't dare try to list you all, but I certainly do thank you all. Not just for being here this morning, but for a year plus of your time, counsel, and expertise. When Jackie Mehta first suggested that we apply to Casey Family Programs for a First Spouse Initiative grant, I knew I wanted it to be about giving kids a chance to succeed, a chance to recognize and work toward their potential. So we started to think about specific programs that would do that in a targeted way. A kind of traditional approach for a first spouse: identify a need, a way to respond, and focus on it for as long as you're here. But then Paul DiLorenzo from Casey asked us to think bigger, more in terms of promotion than response. And of course, that instantly made sense. If our goal is, in a foundational way, to give Delaware's children a chance to succeed, we can't do that with one program. And we can't do it by responding to just how kids suffer when they crash into obstacles. We have to deal with the obstacles themselves. That's the reality John recognized when, in one of his first initiatives as governor, he reestablished the Family Services Cabinet Council. When families face foundational challenges, like access to stable housing or nutritious food, each adversity deepens all of the others in a geometric and generational erosion of opportunity. So to be effective, and certainly to be efficient, the efforts to alleviate those challenges must also be interconnected and mutually reinforcing. Our First Chance initiative, with a founding grant from Casey Family Programs, seeks to encourage a coordinated, intentional, and evolving culture of commitment to Delaware's children, to make the first state a place where every child has a first chance to succeed. The why of the First Chance initiative is pretty obvious. It's our shared interest in public health, educational excellence and workforce development, in attracting businesses and talented employees based on the skills of Delawareans and on the quality of life in our state. It's our interest in saving on emergency medical costs and other crisis interventions. It's our interest in parent-employee productivity and retention, and in supporting community safety and sustainability. And even more obviously, it's our moral obligation to give kids a chance, a first chance, to succeed. As for the how of the First Chance initiative, first, we want to recognize cross-sector collaborations that are working to raise awareness of what's out there, both for families who might benefit and for prospective partners who share an interest and who want to get involved. Second, we want to take that intentional, coordinated approach to expanding successful programs, especially where parents, children, and teens are engaged in partnerships and settings that they trust. Partnerships like our evidence-based home visiting programs for newborns and moms, settings like our Boys and Girls Clubs, community centers, WISE, libraries, faith-based settings, and public schools where adults invest in building strong relationships with students. While we have kids and families in these trusted programs and settings, how can we better coordinate a mutually reinforcing first chance web of support and opportunity? In our year of groundwork for the First Chance initiative, we focused on partnerships in 3 areas: addressing childhood hunger, promoting early literacy, and expanding trauma-informed care. Good things are happening. And again, we want to build on those successes. Good things like the program to help struggling readers that I had a chance to see in action at Manor Elementary School. The program is a partnership among the Reading Assist Institute and its public and private supporters, the Colonial School District, and AmeriCorps. We're going to celebrate 3 years of that partnership at an end-of-year bash on April 26th with food provided by culinary arts students at William Penn. Good things are happening. Good things like Compassionate Connections, a partnership I've been privileged to join just recently. The work started when Compassionate Schools, a national program, joined with Delaware's Department of Education with early involvement from the University of Delaware, and once again lead funding from Casey Family Programs. The Compassionate Schools work expanded with deepening commitment from those early partners and inspired by a grassroots push from members of the Delaware State Education Association. DSEA earned a National Education Association grant to form Compassionate Connections and to launch a 3-year pilot program in 5 schools. Compassionate Connections, again, involves all of the original Compassionate Schools partners, including Casey, and also, and I apologize if I miss any, Children and Families First, the Office of the Child Advocate, the Parents Advisory Council for Education, the Red Clay and Christina School Districts, the Wilmington Advisory Council, the Family Services Cabinet Council's ACES Subcommittee, the ACLU, the Rodell Foundation, and the Department of Services for Children, Youth, and Their Families, aka Secretary Manning's Kids Department. In addition to that collaboration, many schools apply the new opportunity grants toward trauma-informed work. A shout out too to Wilmington University, which now offers a certificate in trauma-informed approaches as a complement to degrees in 6 different majors. This isn't touchy-feely stuff. As we now know, this is brain science and biology, with implications for every family, school, workplace, and neighborhood. Good things are happening. Like the collaboration, I am proud to introduce as our inaugural First Chance program, our State Task Force on Childhood Hunger. I want to thank Charlotte McGarry from the Food Bank of Delaware, Ray Fitzgerald, Director of Social Services at DHSS, and Amy Beam from the Department of Education, as well as the task force's partners, which include, again, this probably isn't everybody, the Harry K. Foundation, certainly Secretary Bunting, superintendents, principals, and member of the Delaware School Nutrition Association, the Department of Agriculture and Delaware Farmers, all of our summer food service and after-school partners, and the regional office of the USDA. If we're going to give kids a first chance to succeed, what better place to start than fighting childhood hunger? This one doesn't take a lot of data, although there's plenty. Have you ever been at your best when you were hungry? I've had the misfortune on occasion of being with our governor when he's hungry. And it's not something you want to see.
Wait a minute.
Did you eat
Hangry.
breakfast? Angry, right. Our task, okay. You know it's true. You want me to bring in your mother?
No.
Our task force on childhood hunger has set specific goals to increase participation in school breakfast, improve our effectiveness in serving summer meals, expand opportunities for after-school meals and snacks, and, with the help of the Harry K. Foundation, to make sure that every school that has a basic needs closet also has a food pantry. The goals of the task force are aggregate, not one for the food bank, one for DHSS, and one for DOE. Not one for philanthropy and one for reimbursable programs. We have shared goals because we have shared goals and a common interest in achieving them. Again, whether you look at it from an economic, quality of life, or moral point of view. In building a statewide culture of commitment to children, as we review budgets, policies, and programs, let's ask what each of us can do, what each of our agencies, businesses, and funding sources can do to break down silos in support of shared goals, to engage in creative, common sense collaborations to give kids a first chance to succeed. I am very privileged to have the opportunity to invest the convening power and platform of the First Lady's role toward the First Chance Initiative. Thank you again to everyone who has been so encouraging and supportive. Certainly one of the key leaders in our state in fostering a collaborative approach to serving Delaware's children is Josette Manning, Secretary of the aforementioned Kids Department. Josette is a leader on the Family Services Cabinet Council with a particular commitment to applying ACE's research toward a better future for our children and communities. Like so many of the leaders I've met in the last year, she inspires hope and confidence. And she is one of the most valued partners in shaping and advancing the vision of the First Chance Initiative. I'm very proud and grateful to introduce the Honorable Josette Manning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for that amazing introduction. I am deeply appreciative of those kind words. As the Cabinet Secretary for the Department of Services for Children, Youth, and Their Families, Kids Department, and as a member of the Family Services Cabinet Council, I've seen firsthand that our governor and our agency heads in this administration are dedicated to and have absolutely prioritized Delaware's children. And it has been heartwarming for me. The Family Services Cabinet Council has really enabled the agencies to come together and understand what resources we have at the state level and how we can better combine and utilize those resources to help children and families. And though that is very important work and there has been great work done, we also recognize that there are gaps and that the state cannot reach everyone we need to reach. we recognize that we need to engage with our community partners. We need to engage with the community, our nonprofit organizations, our private organizations, churches, individuals, everyone who has those shared goals, because we all share those same goals. And this initiative, the First Chance Initiative, will foster that collaboration. It will make it so that we can take the already existing programs and resources and better utilize them and target them where they're really needed. And the most exciting thing, I shouldn't say the most exciting thing, an exciting thing about the initiative is that it's not a new program. It is not going to take months to get off the ground or to build. It really is taking what we all have, what you all have, and bringing it together in a meaningful and more efficient way so that we can better serve our children and families. So I am extremely grateful that the First Lady is spearheading this initiative and to be a partner in this initiative. I'm also very grateful that she has chosen to focus on hunger and literacy and trauma, because if we can impact any one of those three things in a child's life, we can change the trajectory of that child's life. And if we can do that, ultimately, we can improve the quality of life for everyone in Delaware. So I am very honored and grateful to be here today. Thank you very much for this.
The next speaker is someone I've already mentioned, one of our founding and lead members of the statewide effort to end childhood hunger. And before I ask her to come up, let me use a Food Bank of Delaware program as an example of a hub of success we can build upon. The Food Bank, with support from volunteers and a number of funders, including the Harry K. Foundation and local businesses, assembles bags of food for kids to eat over the weekend. There's nothing extravagant about the food, just the basics of 2 nutritional breakfasts and lunches to fill in for the meals qualifying kids eat at school during the week. It's called the Backpack Program. Food goes home in the kids' backpacks on Friday afternoons. It's a common sense approach to meet an already identified need and societal interest. We need more backpacks for kids K-12. But what about their younger siblings? We have this idea for SIB packs, the same basic nutritional food for a weekend for younger siblings of the K-12 kids who qualify. The food bank would need additional partners to take on providing SIB packs, as well as to meet the growing need for backpack bags generally. It's a great program with great partners. Let's build on it. From the Food Bank of Delaware, my friend and task force partner, Charlotte McGarry.
Good morning, and thank you. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity, the First Lady having me here to share with you. I am one of a team of 5 people. As she stated, we have Amy Bean from the Department of Education, Ray Fitzgerald from Department of Human and Social Services, First Lady, of course, and John Sheehan from the Governor's Office. And it's been a great opportunity over almost a year. The program, or our task force, the National Governors Association, Reducing Childhood Hunger, has been in effect since June of 2017. It's been a great opportunity for the food bank, and we are honored that the governor would select us as a partnership on that team, because it gives us an opportunity to further our advocacy and our service efforts through the Food Bank of Delaware and the Coalition to End Hunger, but also with the partners that we have established over the years, and to find new partners at all different levels. And with that, we know that there are approximately 1 in 5 children that are in poverty at this point in our state. Here in our first state, we do take that seriously. Our First Lady has worked very hard to learn all the children's nutrition acronyms and what they actually mean, which is no small feat. And her just knowing about that backpack program is an example of the work she's put toward this and her commitment to ending or at least reducing the childhood hunger in our state. We know that we want to give our children a brighter future, and we have to do that all together. We know that it does take a village to raise a child, and the 5 of us on that task force is not going to be able to do that alone. As the First Lady stated, we all have a shared interest in that here and beyond here, and we ask that what you learn here or expanding on what you already know, please take that out and share it with others. As a task force, we've engaged in 3 major goals. They do seem aggressive, but we also know that there's certainly something that we can accomplish by 2020. The first goal is school breakfast that we're targeting. We're looking to have 80% of the children that eat the school lunch eat school breakfast. Right now, we have a recent report that we're at 63%. That's not hard. We can all make that happen. The other goal that we have, the second one, is to have 2 million summer meals served. We have many of you in this room that are already participating in it, and we're just asking that you think about it and go out further. Our school systems throughout the state, they've stepped up tremendously. Last year, we had over 30,000 additional summer meals to be served in the various facets statewide. And our third goal and initiative that we have as a team is to increase our after-school meal. Again, it's not just our team's goal, this is a statewide goal. We're at 8% now. We want to increase that to 20%. Again, it's not hard. It just takes a little work, and then we know that you all here are committed to that. In addition to those goals, some of the things that we've done over the past year is the First Lady, along with the team and particularly Department of Education, is to have a national celebration of our CACFP, or after school meal service. The governor recently signed a proclamation in regards to the school breakfast. And in addition to those things, our Secretary Bunting, along with our First Lady, also sent out a letter to all of our school superintendents to commend them for all the great work that they've done, as well as to encourage them to expand upon that, do alternative school breakfast models for us to increase this. We're a great state, we're the first state, and we want to be #1 as a model across the nation. Our governor takes it seriously as well, or he never would have taken the initiative to enter us into that National Governors Association opportunity. So thank you so much. On behalf of our task force, we encourage you to reach out to any 5 of us and give us ideas, as well as become new partners or expand your partnership. Thank you today.
Finally, I would like to thank Casey Family Programs, and in particular, Paul DiLorenzo, and for their support of the First Chance Initiative. Paul and Casey have been incredible partners for our state. I mentioned Casey's central role in the Compassionate Schools work, and they are literally the inspiration for First Chance Delaware. It was Paul and Casey who inspired this approach of a statewide culture of commitment to children. And I can't imagine anything we could do together that would be more meaningful. It is a great privilege to introduce, from our founding sponsor, Casey Family Programs, a guy who, by the way, is taking time from his sabbatical to be with us today, my friend and colleague, Paul DiLorenzo.
Thank you. Thanks to the Governor and the First Lady for this partnership and for their commitment to strong families and to healthy communities. Casey Family Programs is the largest operating foundation in the country that's devoted solely to the improvement of the nation's child welfare system. Our origins are with 3 brothers who began a bicycle delivery business with $100 from their friends and family members. And that business eventually became UPS. Their commitment, hope, optimism, along with their exceptional ability to plan and execute, resulted in a worldwide package delivery enterprise, as well as a philanthropic activity in the billions of dollars. Over a dozen years ago, our foundation took a look at the excessively high number of children in foster care. At that time, there were approximately 525,000 kids in placement. We also supported a good deal of research that highlighted the fact that many of those kids actually didn't do so well while in foster care. In fact, some did worse than the kids who had remained in their own homes. And that got us to thinking about the partnerships that we should be having around the country, ways that we could be supporting work that strengthened families and strengthened the communities in which they live. In other words, we joined with those states, counties, jurisdictions, local communities to build communities of hope. We bet on the great and the bold idea that every child deserved a chance to be safe and to thrive, and that every child deserved a first and meaningful chance to succeed. Some of us in this room were fortunate to grow up in a community of hope, where children, families, and neighbors were able to focus on the success of the next generation. Consistent and stable parenting, livable wages, neighborhood stability and affordable housing, quality health care, and engaging recreational activities for kids. All of those things contributed to that. But this isn't the case for an ever-increasing number of children and families in our most distressed communities and neighborhoods. For many, hope might be easier said than done. Why is the concept of hope so difficult for so many families to imagine? Because hope implies a brighter future and the possibility for an improved level of well-being. But what if the image of a better life flies in the face of lived experiences for parents and children whose life trajectory has flatlined at birth? Why spend time striving for the barely possible and highly improbable? Childhood adversity, along with generational patterns of inadequate parenting, substance use, mental health problems, poverty, and other challenges, add to a daily setbacks and discouragements. In essence, parenting is very difficult for some people, and for many, it's focused just on managing the moment, just the day-to-day things, like feeding your children. When we fully open the door to hope, we might be asking families to stretch beyond what's possible, making it nearly impossible for them to make any progress. And this is why First Chance is so special, because it's realistic, it's practical, and it will prioritize those practices and existing programs and policies that are shown to be effective, and those programs that are effective at supporting kids and their families at the earliest possible stage. Now, with accomplishment and hope for families, parents can build their own sense of self-esteem. Simple things like medical checkups, finding a stable place to live, a hot and healthy meal. All of these things satisfy the most basic level of family need. And they can also add to a parent's sense of self-worth. Helping environments that help parents build their self-esteem and relationship building, these are the simple offerings of parent support that can make a great deal of difference. A food pantry, access to clothing for a job, can be critical points of engagement for families and for parents who are isolated. The social activist Dorothy Day once wrote, "We have all known the long loneliness, and we have found that the answer is in community." Accomplishment, self-esteem, and social connections, all of these things pave the way to an improved quality of family life and increase the likelihood of child safety. In multiple conversations with First Lady Tracy Quillen Carney, she has been keen to praise the many existing and effective and promising approaches in the state of Delaware that perform simple but elegant tasks of supporting kids and their parents, small and large programs throughout the first state. And she realizes her most unique role in promoting these approaches that are likely to reach families when there is still an opportunity for success and hope, not at the point that's almost too late for us to make any improvements. So as a foundation, we're excited and energized by everything that's happening here today. It's the First Lady in the first state, a first chance for all kids and families. We will continue to be an investor in this work and in this enterprise. And like our founder, Jim Casey, we will support a dream and an authentic strategy to assure that every kid in Delaware realizes their full potential. Thank you.
Thank you all again for your interest and in many cases for your early partnership in the First Chance Delaware initiative. While we still have our speakers here, are there any questions we can answer?
Hi, Mark from WDEO. I'm just wondering that, you mentioned so many well-known institutions here like Food Bank, Education, and Children's Department. What does this involvement with the Casey Foundation specifically start or kickstart, if you will, in Delaware? Is it awareness? Is it funding?
It's the Casey Family Programs does both funding and operational support. We hope that the funding they've provided us will help us to get organized, convene meetings, feed people at meetings, so if you feed them, they will come. And to set up some initial structures like some nice artwork, logo, and that we can leverage their financial support to attract other financial support, and to say this is an effort that has a national foundation behind it, and that means something. The operational support, as Paul could probably explain better than I, is probably even more significant. Casey has done this kind of work in a lot of communities around the country. They know how. They've seen successes and they've seen struggles, and so they can help us anticipate the best designs for programs and the best way to build these partnerships, the most effective way to meet families where they are in a trusted environment, things like that. So it's both. It is funding. I would call it seed funding, and it is tremendous operational support. Paul has been here in Delaware, I think, more than he's been home in the last year. So we are very grateful for both of those kinds of both angles of support that they're giving us.